A team in conference play since 1982-83. That was an Oklahoma State team who was led by a point guard by the name of Bill Self.
How radically does KU change just game plan-wise with no Azubuike in the middle?
Not that much. Remember, they definitely use Azubuike inside. But the last 3 years, this Kansas team has revolved around three-point shooting, spreading the floor, and driving it.
Kansas is the #1 seed for the 10th consecutive year and the 15th time in the 22-year history of the Big 12 championship. But they could very easily lose to the 8th seed. And that tells you all you need to know about this season of the Big 12.
Without question.
Lindy Waters picks up his dribble 5 to shoot. Solomon with a shot fake instead. A line drive 3 goes down. Good start for Jeffrey Carroll.
Now you have to think the Cowboys are extremely confident based on the first 2 games.
Graham finds Lightfoot.
Mitch Lightfoot is going to be a screener today, and every time he will roll to the rim.
Mike Boynton confused by that last whistle, but he has done a really good job in a job that he never expected to have this early in his career.
He reminds me of an NBA lottery pick, a one-and-done guy. Mike Holder and the administration at OSU took a chance on him. He's got a lot of potential, if you will, and so far he's realizing that potential for the Cowboys.
Devontae Graham has it knocked away and taken away by Mitchell Solomon. Baseball pass caught by McGriff, who's been red hot at the end of the season. And a 2-for-2 start for Jeffrey Carroll.
Jeffrey Carroll got off to a slow start this year. He was suspended 3 games, but we're seeing the form back to where he was as a junior, a first-team All-League player.
Mikhailuk can't answer. Kendall Smith. That won't go. Graham goes down but maintains his focus, holds on to that rebound and gets it to LaGerald Vick. Player of the year in the Big 12, Devontae Graham. What a season he has had. Mikhailuk steps back. That's short.
This is an Oklahoma State team that will utilize Mitch Solomon to set screens and catch the ball at the elbow.
2 for 3 now from 3 for Jeffrey Carroll. Malik Newman slips inside and scores.
Nicely done, and that's important because Devontae Graham today cannot be the only Kansas guard driving into the paint. Their offense in the lane has to come from their guard play and their attack off the dribble. Now remember Malik Newman, a transfer from Mississippi State. He was voted Big 12 Newcomer of the Year, known as a jump shooter, but he's added this to his game, which today is crucial without the ability to throw it inside to Azubuike. That young man was a top 15 player, signed at Mississippi State. It did not go well, and Bill Self rehabilitated him.
5 to shoot. Solomon. Long rebound to Lightfoot. How about Lightfoot? He only averaged 14 minutes a game during the regular season as Newman tries a wing jumper and knocks down a 3. Would you be worried, if you're Bill Self at all, about gas in the tank for a player just not used to playing the kind of minutes he'll have to play today?
Well, yes, you would, and that's why you're going to see Silvio De Sousa in the lineup, the young man that joined this team at the in early January, a former top 25 high school player who graduated early.
That won't go for Kendall Smith, but hanging from the rim on the follow is Cameron McGriff.
This kid McGriff, Bob, will be one of the best players in the Big 12 next year. The last 10 or so games, he has been at an all-conference level.
Newman turns the corner. Yes. Malik Newman off to a terrific start. Gets the steal. And a chance for three.
How about Malik Newman? Cast aside down in Starkville. He found a home in Lawrence. He's got a Hall of Fame coach, and he's playing like a Hall of Famer to start this game.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Phillips 66, proud sponsor of Big 12 basketball, and Degree Advanced Protection, the official deodorant of March Madness.
Standard.
Not bad numbers put up by Bill Self and KU. 46 appearances in the NCAA tournament. 3 national championships, of course, in Kansas history. They have won this championship 10 times as well. A couple of years ago, were able to win it, but they want to play well this year. They still have a bitter taste in their mouth, being upset to open last year's Big 12 championship, the upset to TCU.
I think so, and if you know Bill Self, he absolutely wants to win this tournament. But if they don't, they've got the 14 straight, and that's really what matters, Bob. And why does it matter? Because every player who puts on this uniform does not want to be the team that ends the streak. And this team played with a lot of pride this season, even though they were shorthanded.
Tavares Shine on for the first time for Oklahoma State, as Lindy Waters already has 2 fouls, so he has to go to the bench. Solomon gets deep post position against De Sousa, who makes his first appearance, and Solomon uses the window over Silvio De Sousa. De Sousa will post up. He'll go at Solomon. Bank shot won't go.
Silvio De Sousa, that's the guy we talked about, Bob, getting an early opportunity. And Mitch Solomon backs him down. This is a big, strong kid, De Sousa, but very little experience. He was a top 25 recruit for next year, but because of Bill Self's lack of depth, they encouraged him to enroll early. He joined the team in January, and he played 13 minutes on Saturday, his longest stint of the year. And he's going to have to play quality minutes tonight, hopefully, for Kansas.
And he's right back on the bench with a foul, and right back through the hoop goes the shot from Jeffrey Carroll, who's off to a great start.
And there you see Udoka Azubuike, only a sophomore, but experienced enough that he's coaching De Sousa while the game is going on. Bob, think about De Sousa and what he's doing, right? Imagine a treadmill that's going about 6.5, 7 miles an hour, and then we ask you to jump on the treadmill in full stride. Not an easy thing to do for anybody, and that's the analogy you have when he joins the team. Think about this, in the middle of Big 12 play. I know you can't imagine being on any treadmill.
Certainly not one moving. Little pocket pass attempted by Smith. Bounces right back to him. Shot clock winding down. Solomon forces it. The long rebound to Carroll. A fresh 30 for the Pokes. Kendall Smith has been in double figures 10 of his last 12, and Carroll looking to get in double figures already. Offensive rebound again. McGriff. Yes.
Oh, yeah. He's feeling it because remember in that game at Allen Fieldhouse, he had 20 and 9, Bob. And his numbers down the stretch have been electric.
In and out for Devontae Graham. Smith for 3. That goes down. Timeout called by Bill Self. Oklahoma State's got the lead back. And we're back in 30 seconds.
So his eyes light up when he sees that Jayhawk opponent.
How about the opportunity he has just playing with this Oklahoma State team?
Yeah, absolutely. He had a chance to go anywhere he wanted, but he was convinced to go to Oklahoma State because he had an opportunity to replace Juwan Evans, who's now with the LA Clippers.
Marcus Garrett looking for Lightfoot. That pass floats out of bounds.
Well, I talked with Devontae Graham from Kansas yesterday. Which team out of Oklahoma or Oklahoma State would he prefer to see in this game today? He said, Oklahoma State, we absolutely need to redeem ourselves. We're embarrassed that we lost to them twice this season. And I asked, what did he have to do for him? He said, we all have to be tougher. We were not tough in those games. They'd go on runs or get up, and we would just cave in. So look for more toughness from Devontae Graham. He's struggling. He hasn't got on the scoreboard yet. We'll see if he can do it here.
Yankuba Sima is able to hit the jump hook, and now an offensive foul called. That's going to be against Lightfoot. That's his first.
When you set that ball screen, you're not allowed to roll into the moving defender. That's going to bring De Souza back. But to Holly's point, Bob, and I was in Stillwater Saturday, they were definitely the tougher team. And you don't say that very often about Bill Self's opponents.
Sima across the lane. Soft touch. He only averages 3.6 points per game. He's got 4 already. Gerald Vick steps back. That's short. Great start for Oklahoma State. From the corner, it's Carroll. He's got another triple and turns and has something to say to the Jayhawk sideline after he knocked it down. When you start to roll all of these scores, some of them on the road as well, start to realize they're building a legitimate NCAA tournament resume.
Without a question, the Achilles heel is the non-conference schedule, but they played some teams that were expected to be good and were not. They were 8-10 in the toughest league in the country. 4 out of the 5 Big 12 teams that have gone 8-10 since double round robin have gotten in. Bob, all the numbers, KPI, BPI, RPI, SHMEPI, you can add those all up. But if you watch this team play over the last couple weeks, it is an NCAA tournament team. I have tremendous respect for the basketball committee. They're watching this game right now. I'm just going to tell them as they're watching from Indianapolis, don't worry about the non-conference schedule because they beat Florida State when Florida State was undefeated. And you know how crazy the analytics are? Because Florida State got beat the other day, they're no longer a quadrant 1 win for Oklahoma State. That's unfair. On the court, this is an NCAA team, and we've seen it. And I've seen it over the last 5 days.
McGriff at the elbow. Yes. Now, if Oklahoma State were to make it and form holds, would 9 out of 10 Big 12 teams make it to the NCAA tournament? That would be amazing.
I don't think they would. I think somebody's going to be bounced out from the league. Remember, it's not about how many from one league. It's who deserves to go on an individual basis.
Malik Newman with a nice drop.
And the Big 12 will have a case for 9. But that also means it's a Rubik's Cube around the country as to who gets knocked out, who doesn't. I think Oklahoma may be in a little bit of trouble based on the way they finished.
McGriff just a little too strong. Loose ball, fought for, and won by Sima and Oklahoma State.
Well, that's the toughness we talked about.
Shine can't hit. Mikhailuk's got this one. Devontae Graham. Yes, his first basket.
Well, guys, Bill Self just told his team in that last timeout, look, I've already had to call 2 timeouts. I can't call any more more. At some point, you just have to go and play. He particularly called them out on their toughness on the offensive glass. Until that timeout, they had 0 offensive rebounds. And more importantly, he made a switch defensively. Svi Mikhailuk had given up 3 threes to Jeffrey Carroll, so he's put Marcus Garrett on Carroll.
Newman can't hit that 3.
And they've also gone to the 2-3 zone for the first time. Look at that, Averett.
Cruises to the goal. No one from Kansas steps in.
Not only are they playing well, Bob, they have depth. They have guys like Averett that have been starters in the past.
Devontae Graham draws a foul.
Now, Kansas had been in a zone, and they did not do a good job in transition, and they're not even set up. And watch Brandon Averett, the sophomore, get all the way to the rim. And here's an example of not having a rim protector with the 4 guards and De Sosa right there.
Well, the one thing we've seen from Lightfoot, even when he's gone into play for Azubuike, he can protect the rim. He can block a shot. That's probably the strongest part of his game that we've seen this season. He's got, in about half the playing time of Azubuike, the same number of blocked shots.
You know what he does? He blocks a shot every 9 minutes. That's pretty good. If he played 40 minutes, right? That's 4 blocks a game. That's pretty good for anybody.
One of 2 at the line for Graham.
See, back in that 2-3, this is the most zone Bill Self in this season has played in 15 years.
Kendall Smith back in for Oklahoma State. Jeffrey Carroll sits down for the first time. Eight to shoot. Averett for 3. Long rebound to Grant. Garrett goes at Sema. Too strong. The follow there for Lightfoot.
Now, it's not like they found Lightfoot off the street hanging out in Kansas City. He was a top 75 recruit. Arizona and Stanford both wanted him out of Gilbert, Arizona. He can play.
Graham with the steal. Lobs it. Mikhailuk finishes. Timeout, Oklahoma State.
Graham and Svi Mikhailuk, they've been knocking it down from 3 all season, but right now they said, let's take the easy one, the highlight play. And they need a highlight to get back in this game.
Though last night came right back in the second half, had the mouthpiece in, and earned a trip to the quarterfinals against Texas Tech. That's the first of the doubleheader later on tonight here in Kansas City. Tech against Texas, West Virginia, Baylor, the nightcap to determine the semifinal games tomorrow, Holly.
Well, and all I want for March is my 2 front teeth. I think that's what Kerwin Roach has been singing. But really cool that the Big 12 actually has a fantastic medical staff here at the Big 12 tournament. They've been working here for many years. The Chiefs team dentist was on site. Dr. Bush was able to quickly get that tooth reattached. Kerwin's never looked so great.
It's quick action, right? We thought he was going to have to do it this morning.
And he didn't miss a shift. Oklahoma State, of course, playing last night in the 8-9 game against OU. They found a way to win. We've already seen Thomas DeZagua come in the game, so they can legitimately go 10 deep. But how worried would you be as this game wears on about the legs of your Cowboys if you're Mike Boynton?
Not that much because of the depth, and also I've always felt, Bob, that you have what you give up in a little bit of fatigue. You gain in confidence and also familiarity with the venue. Now, KU plays games here during the season, but for Oklahoma State to get into a rhythm in the tournament and win, I oftentimes think the underdog has that advantage, the lower seed. Good help defense by Jeffrey Carroll.
Newman for 3. Rattles it home, and we're tied. 15 already for Malik Newman.
And one thing that's different than the first two matchups is Kansas handling the pressure a lot better.
Luke with a good wall off. Here comes Devontae Graham. Malik Newman, red hot. Stays that way. Solomon looking for a back cutter. Hits off Smith out of bounds. Good hands by the player of the year in the league, Devontae Graham.
Bill Self's going to be very happy with Malik Newman, Bob, because coming into this tournament, he said they needed more consistency from him. Last couple games, he's been silent, 9 and 7, only 2 of 7 behind the arc. That's changed.
Malik Newman has only gone over 20 points in a game 4 times this season. He's got 18 already in the first half, and we still have 5.5 to play.
He was a prolific scorer in high school, which is why he was a top 15 recruit. And he's a winner. He won 4 straight high school championships at Callaway in Jackson, Mississippi. This is a new home for him.
Grant, NBA range. Short.
Well, you're talking about Malik Newman, and, you know, Bill Self has done a masterful job with this team this year, pushing the right buttons when. Earlier in the season, he sat Malik Newman down, didn't start him in the starting lineup, and I asked Malik about that, and he said, you know, it helped me. I thought I was doing well, but Coach would pull me aside, show me film, teach me that I wasn't working as hard as I needed to do, and I wasn't being aggressive. So he acknowledges that the buttons that Bill Self pushed got him going, and he has been much better since. Coach did a similar thing with LeGerald Vick, and that worked well as well.
Doesn't Bill Self have a very good coaching staff as a whole? Not only he as a button pusher, he's got a bunch of button pushers on that bench.
There's no question. You look over at Jerrance Howard and Norm Roberts, who was the former coach at St. John's. Kurt Townsend have been around forever, and they've been together now a long time, and their continuity. And you know why it's important, Bob? Because sometimes it's not just Bill Self pushing the buttons. Like you said, it's other voices in these kids' heads. Oftentimes, the assistant coaches are the first connection to Kansas and Bill Self because they recruited these guys.
Malik Newman called for his first. Here's a lob off the inbound. McGriff can't hit. DeSosa the rebound. Mitch Lightfoot back on the bench, by the way. He now has 2 fouls. Luke will drive it, looking for DeSosa. It'll stay with KU.
The one guy that has to get going, Holly mentioned him, LeGerald Vick. Even that pass to the corner, that's a shot he would have taken quickly earlier in the year. Little zone now by OSU out of the inbounds.
Graham lobs it, and DeSosa on the other end of the alley-oop. Shine off the mark. Vick's got the rebound. Numbers for Kansas. It's a 5-on-4. Luke spots up. DeSosa, offensive rebound, and a shot fake draws the foul.
Well, this is usually reserved for Udoka Azubuike, the lob, but that time the big freshman from Angola went up and got it. And oftentimes you think Devontae Graham's thinking about driving, shooting the floater, but really in his mind, it's the lob on the backside where the help rotates over.
Well, because Lightfoot has 2 fouls, DeSosa getting some action now, we might just see the tight end from the Kansas football team, James Sosinski. He's played just 3 minutes this year. He went to UMass to play quarterback out of high school, then played on their basketball team. Then he left there, went to junior college in Arizona, played basketball, and then came to Kansas to play football. So 3 schools, 3 sports, and we might see him today in the Big 12 tournament for James Sosinski.
And they might need him.
Absolutely, even just to be a body for a couple minutes. I think you'll see 5 guards before that, but anything's possible with the short lineup.
Smith able to connect.
Oh, that's
and then a giveaway by Kansas.
Yep, unforced.
Late in the first half, Kansas trailed at 1 point by 10. They've come back to take a 3-point lead.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance, and Mountain Dew Ice.
Today from Mizzou, right now in the SEC tournament, all these highlights and a lot more Audi halftime coming your way in a bit, guys.
Jeffrey Carroll in close, Bob Wischusen alongside Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe here in Kansas City. And speaking of a true play-in game, we've got one for Oklahoma State right now. And Mike Boynton.
Done a great job here, Bob. It's hard to hire a guy in the Big 12 with no head coaching experience, but let's look at his background. He played for both Eddie Folger and Dave Odom at South Carolina. He's also been mentored by guys like Buzz Peterson at Coastal Carolina. You remember Mike Young this year in Wofford knocking off North Carolina? And then Frank Martin brought him back to his staff at South Carolina, where he got to know John Underwood. He has terrific coaching mentors, and he's been an amalgamation of all those guys this year.
Sema, deep post position on DeSouza, and he has a chance for a three-point play.
Well, I really liked something that Mike Boynton did yesterday. After they won that game against Oklahoma, in the post-game press conference, he kind of clapped back at our own Joe Lunardi a little bit, like how people have talked about, well, they weren't expected to be good early in the year. Well, they are good now, and he really wanted to let people know, look at our body of work. Don't assume on what you thought we would be at the beginning of the season. Look at us now. What have we done for you lately? They're 4-1 in their last 5 games. They've got big wins over Kansas, who is considered a #1 seed in the tournament right now. So I love it, even though we love Joey Buckets. I love that Mike Boynton had some courage in his first year as a head coach to stand up for his guys.
And the way I look at it, Bob, if I was on the committee, it would go like this: eyes, ears, numbers. What do my eyes tell me? What am I hearing from the people I trust about this team? And then what do the numbers say? And to me right now, the numbers are good, but my eye test tells me this is a team that should be in the tournament, and they're right there, according to our own Joe Lunardi.
And Joe Lunardi has them in a 68-team field, the 69th team. As that three is rolled home by Kendall Smith, that puts the Cowboys back on top. And Joe Lunardi says they win this game, they're in.
Yeah.
So it's as
That's
much a
easy.
playoff game as you can get.
Right. And I'll agree that I love Joey Brackets also. I'll take him for a slice of pizza in Philly, but I think this team is going to get in based on what we're seeing.
Garrett with the left hand. DeSouza follows.
That's the maturation process of being out there on the court in a big spot. This could be the silver lining for Kansas going into the NCAA tournament. That young man's development.
Malik Newman has 20 in the first half.
And I'll tell you what I love about that. Graham gave him the ball and just said, go to work.
Sema spins baseline, high off the window. DeSouza ends up with the loose ball. Devontae Graham right at Sema, and he'll go to the line.
Well, this is a good sign without Azubuike. Watch DeSouza head to the rim, and this is where he's going to use that size and athleticism, Bob. All he's got to do is set screens, run to the rim, catch lobs, and rebound. It's pretty much what Azubuike does.
As you said, grew up in Angola, went to high school in Florida at the IMG Academy. The first time he got off the plane in Kansas was the first time he put on a winter coat. They had to give him one because he showed up in December. And now you see the depth tested with 1:25 to go. Holly called it. Here comes the tight end, James Sosinski, getting some very important playing time. DeSouza's got 2 fouls. And Lightfoot also has 2 fouls.
Exactly, and you say to yourself, why is he playing him? And that's exactly right. with 1:25 seconds. Bill Self rolling the dice that he can keep both of those big guys on the bench, not have to play them, and they'll only have 2 fouls.
Sosinski played 6 minutes total in the regular season. Now he's out there against the St. John's transfer, Sema, who catches at high post.
Remember who he's guarded every day in practice the last 2 months. Udoka Azubuike. Doesn't want to foul.
But does foul on the floor. Crowd wanted to travel, but the call against Sosinski before the walk. It's a 1-and-1.
Yep, let's watch now. Watch, Sema knows he reaches in first before he travels. It's a good call. But remember, this ball is likely to come off because Sema is not a good foul shooter, under 40%.
1 for 1 today. It looks pretty good today.
Yes, he does.
Eight points is already a season high for Yankubasina.
Oh, that's big.
There is your new season high for Sema.
Yep.
9 points in the first half.
Now, Bill Self usually goes 2 for 1 right here. Get a shot up with about 40, you'll get a second possession back if everything holds true to form.
Mikhailuk. Sosinski tries to keep it alive. Sema around Sosinski again, and he's in double figures.
Tell you what, that sweeping hook reminds me of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
I know what you meant. 10 to go in the half. Garrett for 3. Off the mark. Mikhailuk, an offensive rebound. And Kansas has the lead by a point at halftime. KU shoots 55% from the field in the first half, and yet they still only lead by 1 against a team that's beaten them twice already this year, Holly.
Well, Coach, you knew that Udoka Azubuike would be out, so how have you deployed Sema differently? He's got a season high already.
Well, we just try to make a conscious effort to attack them on the inside. We know without him, they don't have as much shot blocking presence, so we want to try to take advantage of that as much as possible.
Jeffrey Carroll got off to a hot start, but he's been quiet since. How do you get him more involved?
Well, we have to move the ball better. We started settling a little bit too much in transition instead of working the ball a little bit and getting great looks, which we were doing the first part of the game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
The first game of the day went to overtime. The second game of the day, only a 1-point lead for Kansas at halftime. Already a lot of excitement in the Phillips 66 Big 12 championship, 43-42. Kansas over the Cowboys at the break. Time for the law firm, Cotter, Cream, and Cuff. Chris Cotter took both of the regular season meetings against KU, but we've got just the game we expected. It's another close one in the Big 12. Why not? 1-point game at halftime. Bob Wischusen, Fran Fraschilla, Holly Rowe with us as well. No Udoka Azubuike for KU, so we knew they were going to lose some production. It had to be spread elsewhere. It looks like they spread it all to Malik Newman.
Exactly, and just what the doctor ordered, because Bill Self had talked to Malik Newman about being more consistent, and we saw a little bit of everything from Malik Newman. The drives to the rim, knocking down some threes. Couldn't have come at a better time. And Devontae Graham, 6 points, hasn't gotten it going yet, but he's been a good distributor to his backcourt mate, Malik Newman.
Let's get over to Holly.
Well, guys, I went to get some coaching adjustments, but I really liked what I heard more from Udoka Azubuike. He was out on the floor with Silvio De Sousa, telling him about how he's got to use his body better to slide guys out away from the basket because they're going over their left shoulder. It was ironically exactly what Bill Self told me. He said, we've got to do a better job guarding their bigs. They're going to the left shoulder, and we're not stopping them. So I just love it that Coach Self and Udoka, same page.
And the fact that Azubuike feels that comfortable, as you said, Fran, only a sophomore, to take that leadership role as Gerald Vick goes baseline with authority.
Now, we haven't seen that in a while, and if he gets going, along with Newman, the way Svi and Devontae have played all year, that will really put a dent in Cowboys' defensive scheme.
That was his first basket. Solomon misses, tries again and scores.
And it's tricky for Mitch Lightfoot right now with 2 fouls. He's got to be a little bit of a conscientious objector inside. He can't really foul.
Devontae Graham. Lightfoot with the follow, but wave off the basket. A foul will be called that'll put Graham at the free throw line.
Now let's take a look at Gerald Vick. In the last 18 games, he's only shooting 39% from the field. And Bob, early in the season, he was one of the most improved players in the Big 12 in the country, but not so much at the end of the season.
First 13 games of the season, Gerald Vick went over 20 points 6 times. He has not gone over 20 points since, so that's 18 games since his last 20-point performance. Still good enough, though, for honorable mention all Big 12, as all 5 starters for Kansas hit the Big 12 honor roll somewhere. Again, it's Solomon, one-on-one with Lightfoot. In and out, the follow not there. As McGriff had another chance to put one back.
Oh, he usually does, too. He's going to regret that.
Graham comes up short. And it ends up with Solomon. Although we've got an injury down at the other end, and it's still going to be McGriff. They're going to have to check out. And see if on the landing, did he come down funny?
Well, he didn't get up as high as he normally does, which is why he missed it. See, he lost the ball.
Came down and ended up banging into Devontae Graham. Cameron McGriff, the last 10 games coming into the Big 12 tournament, 11.5 points, over 6 rebounds per game, had 18 and 9 in the win over Oklahoma last night. So at the most important time of the year, he's one of their hottest players.
And let me tell you something. Add to that, 20 and 9 in Allen Fieldhouse when they went in there and knocked off the Jayhawks, where they led start to finish.
Yeah, they need him on the floor.
Yes. Next year, you know, he'll be a junior next year, Bob. The progress he's made, he will be one of the best players in the Big 12. Great energy guy whose offensive skill level is rapidly improving.
Right on the back of the head to the thigh of Graham. And so you wonder if he has to kind of be put through some type of concussion protocol here just to make sure he's okay. Smith. Yes.
Oh, does he love the Jayhawks? He loves playing against them. Kendall Smith has been just unstoppable in 2.5 games.
And in double figures now for the 11th time in the Cowboys' last 13.
Yeah, and 3rd time against Kansas already, Bob.
Vick from the corner. That's no good. Back tap by Mikhailuk. Spinning is Carroll. Cameron McGriff down at the end of the bench, seeing if his team could take the lead back. Shine for 3. Just a little bit short. Malik Newman to the corner to Mikhailuk. Yes!
That's his spot. What a season Mikhailuk's had. He and Graham have gone, they're almost at 200 made free throws. Excuse me, 3-point shots.
Solomon digs in deep and traveled as Lightfoot might have pulled the chair out a bit, backed up, and it seemed like Solomon shuffled his feet then.
Well, Mike Boynton's doing everything he can to try to pick up that third foul on Mitch Lightfoot.
Lightfoot in deep. Tries again.
You can't
score it. The tip follow, though, is there for Vic.
Mitch Lightfoot just took 2 shots. He didn't even look at the rim. Just got him up on the rim enough for Vic to clean it up.
It's actually Kansas's largest lead, up to 6. Solomon faces up. Foul on Mikhailuk, pushing Lindy Waters in the back on the rebound. That's Fee's first.
Watch these 2 shots, Bob. He doesn't even look at the rim. But luckily, here comes Ligero. Right spot, right time. And that's what Ligero Vic's got to do. If he's not going to shoot the 3, he's got to be that guy that cleans up the garbage.
Carroll turns the corner, lays it in right around Lightfoot.
He can't do that. That's a foul.
That's the 3rd on Lightfoot. That's a concern for Bill Self.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Principal, Investments, Retirement, Insurance, and Stouffer's Fit Kitchen Bowls.
Chip pour into Kansas City, and we have a great time here at the Sprint Center, but if you want to make it a basketball festival, make the 4-hour drive down I-70 to the Scottrade Center and check out the SEC Championship as well in St. Louis.
Yeah, big win for Alabama today. Colin Sexton, the outstanding guard, going coast to coast, scoring at the buzzer. Alabama now, are they in? Are they on the bubble? Michael Porter's played today, 5 points for Missouri. They're down 9 at the half.
That floater's off the mark from Smith. Mikhailuk's got it. What if I would have told you, say, 2 months ago, that there was at least a chance that Colin Sexton and Trae Young were both going to miss the NCAA tournament, that their teams would be left out of the field? What would have had to have happened from there to now?
Well, unfortunately for Oklahoma, you know, going 4-14 down the stretch. And Alabama was a little bit more of a bubble team all year, up and down. But, you know, today's a big day for them. And they get to advance in that SEC tournament in St. Louis.
Tavares Shine banks it home.
Oklahoma's got so many quality wins, but most of them came early in the year. But the simple fact is the resume is the resume. On the other hand, the eye test tells you they have not played well lately.
Joe Lenardi still has them in the field, but they're all sweating it out. You know that. Newman from the corner. Yes! His first basket here in the second half after he rung the bell for 20 in the first half.
Well, the game is coming easy to him because Devontae Graham is putting it on a platter, but he's making them.
Shine through traffic to the corner. Smith tries a 3. Short. Devontae Graham's got it. Tough pass, and Malik Newman bails out to Sosa. 8 to shoot. He'll try another 3. He's fouled this time. Touched on the arm by Shine. So 3 free throws for Malik Newman, who already has 23 in the game.
They want to protect the shooter. Let's watch Shine. He gets him right on the wrist. The ball comes up short. Easy call for Ray Natilli.
84% at the line for the former McDonald's All-American that began his career at Mississippi State. And he was not happy with the first miss, knocks down the second. Back in the game comes Marcus Garrett. And you would have to think this would be a very brief rest for Devontae Graham.
Exactly. And Bob, let's get back to Malik Newman. In high school, he was a 30, 40-point scorer. One of the things that you like to see, and Bill Self's done this, he's turned him into a more complete all-round player. It was usually points first for Malik Newman in high school. And when he transferred to Kansas, he knew he was going to get his butt kicked for the year that he was going to sit out. And Bill Self is starting to mold him into a quality Kansas player.
Well, Gerald Vick thought that he had deflected the ball off of the fingertips of Kendall Smith. Joe DeRosa came over and got together with Ray Natilli, and they changed the call. Here's another look. Very close.
Yep.
So it stays with Oklahoma State. Five to shoot. Carroll picks up his dribble. Has it deflected and taken away by DeSouza. Mikhailuk steps into an open three. In and out. DeSouza kept it alive and drew the foul. That's just hard work by Silvio DeSouza. Shine picks up his second.
Absolutely. Signs of life from DeSouza. The energy is not the problem. It's just getting comfortable in Kansas's rotation. And watch the hustle. He keeps this ball alive, battling inside against Sema. Sema pulls him down. Great young man. Played in the Under-19 World Championships for Angola last summer. Won by Lindell Wigginton and Canada. We saw glimpses of greatness last night from Lindell Wigginton and Iowa State.
If you watch this league, you at some point see glimpses of greatness from every team.
Yeah, that's right. It's fun to watch these guys get better every season.
You know, it's not a real long rest for Devontae Graham. Garrett will drive it. Floats one. It's good.
That young guy's played 20 minutes a game all season long as a freshman.
The lead builds to 9. How worried would you be if you're a Cowboys fan right now? As Shine has it knocked away. Good hands by Devontae Graham.
Well, I'd be worried because remember, Kansas is also playing with extra motivation.
Graham pulls up. He extends the lead to 11. It's a 9-0 Jayhawks run.
Junior! What's up, what's up, what's up? Do I know you? Dewey Ryder. I'm the new you. I'm the new model.
Oklahoma State or KU to take on Kansas State tomorrow night, 7 Eastern in semifinal number 1. And then 2 more games to come tonight to determine the other semifinal pair. Bob Wischusen here with Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe. Dave Fleming and Robbie Hummel and Chris Budden will bring you the other 2 games tonight here on ESPN2. And we'll step aside. DeSouza just picked up his 3rd foul, under 12 to go.
Guys, hey, what time's your flight?
I've got an hour and...
Quarterfinal already moving on. Kentucky, Florida, and Tennessee await their matchups in the quarters.
Yep, and congratulations to Yante Mayton, who was the SEC Player of the Year, the senior from Georgia, who last year in a game against Kansas had 30 in the CBE. Very impressive 4-year player. For Mark Fox, former Kansas State assistant, grew up in the state of Kansas.
Garrett with the drive. He lobbed it intended for DeSouza, but a foul called before the alley-oop could go through. That's going to be on Lindy Waters. That's his third. It's also good to see Cameron McGriff out there as well for Oklahoma State as he took that shot earlier in the game.
Oklahoma State goes zone on inbounds play, so Kansas has got to get to their stuff quickly.
That pass from Vick, stolen by Shine.
Watch how they utilize Solomon at the opposite elbow. He's a screener. He'll catch it.
Carroll skips one to Smith. Newman the rebound.
Good team defense that time. They double-team Carroll, force the ball out.
Malik Newman with a crossover and a foul call. And it looks like Smith will be called for the foul, diving into Marcus Garrett. That's his first.
Remember Travis Relaford, who was an outstanding player for Kansas, a 5-year guy? Marcus Garrett gives you the same kind of intangibles. But think about it, a freshman playing 20 minutes for a team like this.
DeSosa travel.
Kansas, Miss Lightfoot replaces Silvio DeSosa.
The learning curve continues to move for Silvio DeSosa. Got an earful from Bill Self, and now takes that seat next to Udoka Azubuike. Peer coaching as well as the head coach.
Yeah,
having something to say.
Unofficial big man coach tonight for Kansas. You see Big Doak. He made 77% of his shots this year. That leads the country. And that's also a Big 12 record. And I think if this was an NCAA tournament game, he could play today. But everything's locked up in terms of the 14 straight. They're either a 1 or a 2 seed, Bob. So why take a chance?
It's a sprained MCL on that left knee, and he's going to be reevaluated on Sunday. Once Selection Sunday wraps up, he's going to get looked at. And Bill Self said that he very well might be able to play by the time KU ends up in their first round NCAA site. Kansas has it back. Holly?
Well, keep in mind, Kansas has one of the best athletic trainers in the country. Bill Cowgill has actually kept them so healthy with all these short numbers. Their starters are playing a lot of minutes this season, but they have some of the fewest games missed in the country. If you go down their list, Devontae Graham, 31 out of 31. Svi, 31 out of 31. Udoka, 30 out of 31 until today's miss. So they have got some great rehabilitation help on the bench, and I have no doubt they'll get him back. And he has said that he is likely to play next week as well.
Yeah, but Holly, keep in mind they've got a coach who knows about fresh legs. They play so many Monday games that with Devontae Graham this year, he's given them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off much of the time.
Graham turns it over. Garrett, though, rejects Smith, who steps back for three. That's short. Shine on the offensive glass. Held ball. It belongs to Oklahoma State.
Tavares Shine is a graduate already with a 5th year if he wants to return, and looks like Devontae might have. He's holding his head.
The Cowboys, Brandon Ingram replaces Kendall Smith.
It's been about 5.5 minutes since Oklahoma State last scored, and Kansas has opened up a double-digit lead. Bob Wischusen here with Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe at Sprint Center in Kansas City. This is game 2 of 4. Kansas State in overtime beat TCU earlier today. Two teams that are both going to be in the NCAA tournament, but it's K-State that advances. And we could get Chapter 3 of the Sunflower Showdown. If this score holds, it would be Kansas and Kansas State in one semifinal tomorrow night. And now another foul call. This one's going to go against LeGerald Vick.
And if this score doesn't hold and Oklahoma State wins, then they have absolutely locked up a bid to the NCAA tournament. So a lot at stake here for the Cowboys in this final 9 minutes.
McGriff for three. That won't go. It'll still stay, though, with Oklahoma State.
A good effort by Jeffrey Carroll on the backside. Didn't come up with it.
Carroll for three. That's no good. Graham the rebound.
Well, guys, in the last timeout, Mike Boynton of Oklahoma State really got after his team. He said, there are balls in the air, and we're not getting to them. Why are they getting all the loose balls? He slammed his fist onto his whiteboard and said, we simply have to play harder. Why aren't you playing harder? And we've seen that. Since the timeout, I've seen 3 different 50-50 balls that Oklahoma State has gotten to. They have shown some hustle since their coach encouraged them in the
McCallum lobs it to Lightfoot. But to that point, friend, I asked you earlier, is there a chance you could start to see the gas tank empty a bit for a team that played last night? Because Oklahoma State, they had to beat Oklahoma last night. Offensive foul called here on shot.
And I think it's possible, Bob. But I think it's more about Kansas being locked in right now. Watch this right here. Just a little screen down. The big guy comes up and helps, and just nice lob, and that's just execution right there. You know, Bill Self said after the game on Saturday, we watched the tape and the tape didn't lie. We had 2 days to prepare for OSU, and we were just not the tougher team. Today, I think they've been the tougher team.
Mikhailuk, offensive rebound.
Oh, nice pass.
And speed connects off the feed from Garrett. Timeout, Oklahoma State. It's like the fog east, 16-point lead.
The bucket in overtime, giving Providence the lead. They lead by 3 right now. 8 seconds left. Bob, Fran?
All right, Chris, thanks very much. As we're back at the Phillips 66 Big 12 Championship. And without Udoka Azubuike, quality minutes for Mitch Lightfoot today for Kansas. Silvio De Sousa as well. They've got a 16-point lead.
Yeah, and how about the Kansas defense? Only 4 field goals for Oklahoma State. Second half, 4 for 17.
Carroll hits the side of the backboard. Graham for 3. Carroll down the lane. Good call by Joe DeRosa as he gets Vic with the foul. Fran takes us inside the play.
Yeah, watch the smart court vision. First by Vic to signal a screen, then by the freshman Garrett. He sees cross court, and he makes this pass 50 feet away. And that's, you know, Svi Mikhailuk's got a 3-bedroom apartment right there in that left corner. 2 baths, a study.
Carroll. The tip follow is there for Mitchell Solomon. Eight to shoot. Graham goes to work. Mikhailuk from the corner. Graham's gonna have to force one up. Pretty good stand there for Oklahoma State. Do they have a push in them in the last 6.5 minutes? Lindy Waters, offensive foul. Charge taken by Lightfoot.
It's been all teamwork today, on the court and off. Lightfoot with the charge. But let's watch right here. Azubuike, he's not playing today, but he knows it's good. Because he's seen his teammate, Svi Mikhailuk, do that about 1,000 times this year in practice and in games.
Mikhailuk with a reverse. And it looks like he stepped on the end line.
Oklahoma State, Bob, I'm telling you, if they make a couple more, they can make a couple buckets and get this under 10. This could be one of them.
Soft touch not there for Kendall Smith. Good hands though by Shine. Knocked it away from Lightfoot. Lightfoot blocks the shot, but Mikhailuk fouled Kendall Smith. Well, there's one of those 50-50 balls. A hustle play that, of course, Mike Boynton was urging his team to be more involved with, as you heard Holly Rowe talk about earlier. If they can just get their legs back under them in this last 6 minutes, maybe they can make a push.
No, I think they can. This is a team that they have dominated Kansas twice, particularly in Stillwater more so. But you can't miss free throws when you're down 14. And you have the orchestrator, Devontae Graham, on the other side of the court, who's going to make sure the tempo of this game stays where Bill Self wants it. You just don't want to take the air out of the ball too quickly.
Kansas shooting 52% for the game, as you saw 47% in the second half. A lob ends up with Lightfoot, as that was deflected. And a foul called. That bailed out Kansas, as Kendall Smith is called for the foul on Lightfoot. Both teams are going to be over the limit the rest of the way. Here's the production that Mitch Lightfoot and Silvio De Sousa have given collectively Kansas in the absence of Azubuike.
Yeah, 12 and 12. Stokes in that 13 and 7 range.
Waters for three. That won't go. Offensive rebound, Solomon.
Well, that's what he does. Fourth leading rebounder in OSU history on the offensive glass.
Number 3 in the Big 12 this year, averaging just a shade over 3 offensive rebounds per game. He's had 2 in the last 3 trips.
I just think Kansas has got to get to a better flow offensively. They're utilizing too much time, and that is not a good foul. But let's go back to the Bixby big man, who's gotten better every year for Oklahoma State. He got a huge ovation on Saturday in his final home game, and I asked Bill Self earlier in the year about what he thought about Mitchell Solomon. He thought he could start for virtually every team in the Big 12. It's really hard to argue.
Point away from a career high now for Malik Newman. He's got 26. Smith fading away, just about gets the roll. The foul called on Lightfoot. That's his 4th. So that'll send him back to the bench. Here comes Silvio De Sousa. And it'll be 2 for Kendall Smith.
Now Smith and Bond, shooting 2.
Kendall Smith has been slowed down today by pesky Kansas defense. In his first 2 games, he combined for 49 points against Kansas.
Another offensive rebound for Solomon off the free throw miss. And then a throwaway by Smith. Threw it right to Mikhailuk. De Sousa rolls to the goal.
Terrific. If you got 4 shooters on the perimeter, it's hard to guard a big guy rolling without giving up an open 3.
Carroll bumped, plus the foul. So Jeffrey Carroll has a chance to make it a 10-point game.
Let's watch how much room DeSouza has in the lane, because if you come over and help, you're going to give up the 3 in the opposite side. But Jeffrey Carroll making something out of nothing, and now a chance to get 3.
That's the 4th on DeSouza. Wonder if Bill Self might ask James Sosinski to get up off the bench one more time.
No, I think now in this part of the game, it'll be 5 guards with Marcus Garrett in the game. That's my take if both were to foul out. And he's going to use DeSouza's 5th foul before he brings Lightfoot back.
Well, Gerald Vick for 3. Knocks it down. That's a dagger of a 3 if you're Oklahoma State. Waters to Solomon. Knocked away by Vick. Here goes the Gerald Vick to Graham. Behind the back. Lindy Waters with a floater. And a quick timeout called by Mike Boynton. 13-point lead for Kansas. And Devontae Graham plays basketball with a joy when he's out there.
And it's teamwork too, Bob. You see, Vic gives it up first, and then Graham reciprocates. And today, without Azubuike, it's been all about teamwork.
Chris Cotter back in Bristol. Georgia Bulldogs trying to spoil the Michael Porter Jr. party for Mizzou. Look at Rayshawn Hammonds with the bucket. 6-point lead for the Dogs over on the SEC Network, Bob.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Bob Wischusen here with Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe. 13-point lead for Kansas in a game that's not over yet. But Oklahoma State now has to play with almost no net, right? And they have 0 margin for error in the next 3 minutes if they want to pull off a comeback.
Exactly, and the guy they have to try to rattle a little bit is the Big 12 Player of the Year. Not easy to do, Devontae Graham. Otherwise, Devontae Graham is now going to start to use more clock. Bill Self's already calculated in his head he's got enough points to win this game. Now it's about smart usage of the clock.
Devontae Graham just turned it over, but Holly, his playing ability, only one reason why he's going to be a Kansas legend.
Well, Devontae Graham has blossomed into an incredible leader. In fact, Bill Self told us that he's the kind of guy that can hold guys accountable, get on them, but then he's the one checking up on them and holding them accountable. Well, he's actually holding his coach accountable today. Look at this. Bill Self getting very heated in the face of the official, and Devontae, arm around the middle. Hey, coach, I got you, man. I think that is the best showcase of leadership we've seen.
How many different players did you have during your coaching career that you would say it's okay for them to do that to you?
Oh, absolutely. No, you know what? You got to have that. I told you earlier, Bob, the best teams are player directed. In other words, it can't always be the coach coaching. It's got to be coach to player, and then players coach each other. And those are always the best teams, especially when you have great leaders. It's hard to be the captain and the coach. It's great when you have a great leader like this on the floor.
And now he has to call a timeout. Kendall Smith hit a jumper to make it an 11-point game. And then the double team forces Devontae Graham to call a timeout. 2:24 to go in regulation time, 74-63. Kansas has the lead, trying to get to a return date with K-State tomorrow in the Big 12 Championship semifinals. This Kansas team, Azubuike, obviously the knee is a question. Their depth almost 0. How far can they go, and how good do you think they really are?
Well, I didn't think throughout the year they were a Final Four team, but when we get to this tournament this year, anything's possible because of the parity. But playing without Azubuike today is actually good for them. It's good to be able to win different ways. We've seen DeSouza a lot, and as we said earlier, it's likely he could have played if this were an NCAA tournament game. I think this is a great confidence builder for a team that's been beaten twice by Oklahoma State. Dominated the second half, Bob.
At 6 Eastern on ESPN Sports Center with Michael Smith. A breakdown of Tigers' first round at the Valspar. Tell you what his chances are of contending over the weekend, plus a preview of Serena's match tonight in Indian Wells. And Jay Billis, the top seed, should be on upset alert as Newman tries a three from the corner and misses. Sports Center, 6 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Now, if you're Oklahoma State, you have to have what we call a hurry-up offense. And that means get into the half court quickly, 1 or 2 passes max, and then you've got to start to drive it, kick it. But you cannot run your normal offense. And their normal offense is deliberate.
Shine will drive it and kick it to the corner. Smith for 3. Shine an offensive rebound. Forces it back up. It won't go. The tip follow is there. McGriff on the offensive glass.
Now, do you have a little bit of pressure to speed up Kansas? Potentially trap, but you don't want to foul unless you can get a bad foul shooter on the line.
And now it's to Graham. Malik Newman plays it in. I guess if you gamble defensively, sometimes you give that up.
That's exactly right. It's the law of averages. You got to take some gambles, chances.
Carroll fouled by Lightfoot, shooting a 3. Bill Self can't believe it. Mitch Lightfoot is fouled out, and Carroll will get 3 free throws with the clock stopped.
Not a smart play by the sophomore. He knows it. His coach knows it. Everybody in the building knows it.
And now your call, 5 guards. Here comes Garrett to the scorer's table to check in. So they'll go small with the 5 guards.
Well, and also because they have an 11-point lead. But I think Bill Self would have done this in a 1-point game. Just play your most experienced guys at this point of the game.
Well, guys, I'm only partially kidding with this injury update, but I have kept my eye on Udoka Azubuike on the Kansas bench, and his reaction time standing up to celebrate on plays, I'm just telling you, it's quick. The knee looks very healthy. He's going from a seated, squatted position. He pops right up with little or no pain, and I think he looks pretty good.
Only 1 of 3 free throws for Carroll, and an easy one for Garrett off the feed from Vic.
Somebody needs to hold Doak down. Say, sit down, big guy.
Smith throws it away to Vic. So now Kansas really in control. Malik Newman adds to it. Career high.
Well, Rudy Tomjanovich once said, never underestimate the heart of a champion. And this Kansas team has championship DNA, and they've had it for a long time.
Foul on Devontae Graham. 80-66. Kansas has the lead, and Tobacco Road in action tonight. Miami, North Carolina at 9 Eastern. That's the nightcap in the quarterfinals of the New York Life ACC tournament in Brooklyn at Barclays Center. Duke, Notre Dame at 7 Eastern. And as we talked about earlier, that could be the game that gets Notre Dame into the field. If they've got Bonzie Colson and Matt Farrell both back playing well, the committee sees that and they beat Duke.
Yeah, absolutely, because Mike Gray said yesterday, I feel really comfortable with our team with all my guys back. It wasn't just Bonzie. Remember, Matt Farrell was out for a while, so was Pfluger, so was Harvey.
And now Kansas will take the air out of the ball. 30 seconds to go. The question is this the last 30 seconds for Oklahoma State in terms of their hopes for the NCAA tournament?
I think, Bob, it is going to be touch and go the next 72 hours. I think this is a tournament team. The committee's got a lot of data. They watch a lot of they put a lot of eyes on these games. It could go either way because it's a matrix. Who wins, who loses in other tournaments. But I think this is a tournament team.
Down to the last 2 seconds. Garrett dribbles it out, and it will be Kansas. And Kansas State in the Big 12 Championship semifinals tomorrow for 1 spot in the championship game. Still 2 more semifinal spots up for grabs later on tonight. Once again, our final. Kansas wins it 82-68. For Fran Fraschilla and Holly Rowe, I'm Bob Wischusen. So long for now from Sprint Center in Kansas City. Back to Chris Cotter in the studio.
Thank you, Bob. College basketball scoreboard presented by Campbell's.